You headed to the lake soon?
Sure am. Thanks again for inviting me and Tyler.
Of course! Ben and I are excited to get to know you two a bit better. We're already on our way.
Perfect. Tyler and I are just about to head out.
Before you do, can I ask you a favor?
Sure thing. What's up?
Could you pack a knife?
A knife?
I know, weird request, right? Ben says we forgot to grab one. He claims he'll need it for some outdoorsy stuff.
LOL, okay, sure. Wait, what kind of knife? I don't think I have anything outdoorsy, just kitchen knives.
That'll actually be perfect. Just grab the biggest one.
Got it.
Great, see you soon.
1 hour later.
Hey, babe, I'm outside your apartment. Need help with your bag?
I think I've got it. Be out in a sec.
Janet grabs her duffel bag and goes downstairs. She's about to walk out the door, but she remembers Kate's request. Janet makes her way to the kitchen, grabs a knife, and tucks it safely in her bag between 2 articles of clothing. Later that afternoon, Janet sits in the passenger seat of Tyler's car, fiddling with the radio.
So we're really doing this?
Oh my God, would you stop? Kate was nice enough to invite us on this trip. Can you please be grateful?
Grateful? I just want to make sure I don't get murdered in the woods.
Well, if you keep this up, I just might murder you myself.
I'm just saying. That night you met Kate?
Do we have to do this again? We've talked about this so many times.
Because it was weird.
I try not to think about it.
The fact that you don't remember the entire night? It's strange, babe.
For the last time, I had too much to drink, and that probably didn't mix well with the meds I take. I blacked out. It happens.
Right. It happens. I just feel like normally people don't wake up the next morning with a new best friend who they don't even remember meeting. I should have been there.
Don't beat yourself up about it. You were 2 states away. Not much you could do. And like you said, I made a new friend out of the whole ordeal. I think it was fate.
Janet thinks back to the party she attended a month earlier. She doesn't remember a thing about that night. She only remembers waking up in a stranger's bed. Before she could panic, Kate had walked in with breakfast on a tray. Kate claimed Janet had passed out and that she had taken care of Janet, made sure she was okay.
Well, we're almost there. Just 10 more miles and we'll hopefully be able to relax.
The next day, Janet lounges on a floaty in a lake, Kate floating along by her side. Both have drinks in hand. Janet watches Tyler and Ben play frisbee on the shore, her boyfriend looking much less coordinated than Kate's.
So, have you enjoyed the lake so far?
Are you kidding? I can't think of a better way to end the summer than this. Thank you again for having us.
I'm so glad it worked out. I would have done anything to get you up here.
Janet takes a sip of her drink, soaking in the sunshine. All of a sudden, she remembers.
Hey, that knife.
What about it?
Well, I just brought it. Does Ben need it?
Well, not yet.
Okay. Should I just leave it in the kitchen or something?
No, keep it for now.
Kate smiles and closes her eyes again. They float in a heavy silence for a few seconds.
So, remind me, how long have you and Tyler been together?
4 years now. We met our freshman year of college. We both lived in the same dorm, and after the first week of school, we just kind of knew we were right for each other.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if he's getting bored of me.
Please, how could he ever get bored of you? Look at you. You're amazing.
Janet blushes.
How long have you and Ben been together?
We've been partners in crime for 10 years now.
Wait, what? 10 years? How is that even possible?
We met in middle school.
Oh, same class?
Kind of. Our first date was in detention.
No way.
Yep.
What did you guys do?
It was dissection day in all the science classes. Ben and I wanted to give the frogs a fair chance.
A fair chance?
To run.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Well, they kept the frogs locked up in tanks. Where's the justice in killing a creature when it's got nowhere to run? Like, what's fun about shooting fish in a barrel? So we let the frogs loose.
Oh, and what happened to them?
Not sure. Supposedly the janitor had to hunt them down. But Ben and I have been together ever since. We're so close. Sometimes I think we're the same person.
They sit in another bit of silence.
Kate, can I ask you something?
Sure thing.
Why did you take care of me after that party? It was so nice of you, but you didn't know me or anything.
There's something you should know about me. I don't like most people. But you, well, let's just say I knew you were just the type of person I'd want to have around.
A loud crash sounds from the direction of the shore. Janet whips her head around. Tyler is frozen, his arm outstretched, as if the frisbee just left his hand. And he has a panicked look on his face. Janet follows his gaze to the house and sees the window he just broke.
I am so sorry. I knew I was bad at throwing a frisbee, but I didn't know I was that bad.
Kate laughs, waving her hand.
Don't worry about it. We'll get it fixed. There isn't any rain in the forecast for the next few days. We should be just fine.
Kate paddles to the shore as Ben stands near the water, waiting for her.
Who's ready for some margaritas?
Later that night, Janet sits on the bed while Tyler roams around their room, looking at the different animal heads mounted on the walls.
Having fun?
A blast.
Is that sarcasm I detect?
Other than breaking a window and trying to make conversation with someone who doesn't talk, I'm having a great time.
No luck with Ben?
None. I think it's pretty obvious he doesn't like me.
He's just quiet.
Sure.
Janet pouts prettily.
Oh, I'm sorry, baby. Thank you for coming here with me.
Tyler grunts in response. Janet lies back on the bed.
Come here.
Why?
Come over here.
Reluctantly, Tyler goes over and lies down beside Janet. She pulls him on top of her and begins kissing him. She sighs as he moves to kissing her neck. Then there's a knock on the door. They break apart, Janet's face turning red. She tiptoes to the door and gently cracks it open. At her feet are a bottle of wine, some glasses, and a folded note. Reaching down, she grabs the bottle and reads the note.
Who was it?
I think Kate left us this.
She holds up the wine bottle.
What does the note say?
Get ready for a night you won't forget. Here's a little something to get your blood flowing.
What does that mean?
No idea.
You've made some weird new friends.
She's just trying to be nice. Let's just try to enjoy ourselves, okay?
Fine.
Want a glass?
Is it a red?
Yeah.
Then nah, I'm good.
More for me, then. Just need to find a bottle opener.
There wasn't one with the bottle?
Guess not.
Janet looks around the room. She opens the dresser and nightstand drawers.
You really think one will be in there?
Look at this.
What?
Janet pulls out a binder labeled Guest Book from one of the drawers.
I guess we can sign our names?
She opens the book and flips through page after page, each one showing a different smiling couple standing next to Ben and Kate.
Wow. They have a lot of friends.
Tyler hovers over her shoulder, looking at the photos with her.
Wait, go back one.
Janet turns back the page to a blonde couple, their skin slightly burnt from the sun.
I know those names.
Tom Holt and Allie Cooper?
Yeah, I've heard those names before. I just can't remember where.
Do you recognize them?
Kind of. But I don't remember meeting them. It's gonna bug me. Let me look it up.
Tyler tries to click on his phone, but he is met with a black screen.
Shoot, mine's dead. Did you bring a charger? I forgot mine at home.
In my bag, but I don't get much service out here.
Worth a try.
Tyler digs through Janet's bag.
Ow!
What? What's wrong?
What the? Janet, what is this?
Tyler gingerly lifts a kitchen knife from Janet's bag.
Oh, that! Oh my God, did you cut yourself?
Just a nick, but it could have been worse. Why did you pack a knife?
This is going to sound weird, but Kate asked me to.
Wait, really?
Yeah, she said Ben needed one, that he forgot his and wanted to do outdoorsy stuff.
But
That actually might work as a bottle opener. Give it here.
Tyler hands Janet the knife, which she sticks into the cork, slowly turning until the cork comes out with a pop. She pours a glass and takes a sip. A familiar, earthy taste sticks to her tongue. She continues flipping through the guest book, marveling at all the different faces staring back at her.
Janet, something's not right.
What do you mean?
That knife.
What about it?
Look at me for a second.
Janet turns around and sees Tyler leaning over his bag. He's holding a pocket knife.
A couple days before we came here, I got a text from an unknown number. Turns out it was Ben, and he asked me if I could bring something. A knife.
I mean, that makes sense. Kate said he needed one. He probably didn't know Kate asked me for one too.
He didn't say he needed it for anything. He said I needed it. For an outdoor activity we all were going to do.
You worry too much. I'm sure it's nothing.
Janet's fingers tingle. Her thoughts slow. Just a couple sips and she's already feeling the wine. She didn't know she was such a lightweight. She turns to the last page of the guest book. There's no photo, but there's a pair of names written on the page. Names she recognizes.
Tyler?
Yeah?
Come here.
Tyler tentatively walks over.
We're in the guest book.
What?
Look.
Tyler looks at the last page, and there, written in the same manner as all the other pages, are Tyler and Janet's names.
Guess they'll add our photo after the trip?
Oh, God. Janet, we have to leave.
What? Why?
I just remembered. The blonde-haired couple. I know why their names are so familiar.
Janet flips back to their entry in the book.
That's the couple that went missing. Remember? In the news? They supposedly left to go on vacation and were never seen again. Go back a couple more pages.
Janet flips the pages to a couple named Kyler Locke and Marie Claire.
My God. Remember them?
Janet nods her head. They also went missing a few months ago. They were traveling across the country. Janet blinks hard, trying to erase the dizziness that's clouding her brain.
Knives? A secluded lake house? Pictures of missing people? Janet, we need to go. Now.
Janet can't speak, so she offers a quick nod. Tyler stuffs their things into their bags and throws them over his shoulder. He grabs Janet's hand and leads her to the door, placing his finger over his mouth, communicating silence. He opens the door. The house is dark. He pulls Janet into the hallway. Moving carefully, trying not to make the floorboards creak. They pass the broken window, wind howling through the hole, filling the house with cold air. As they reach the living room, Janet can see the front door. She fights the urge to break into a run. But before they can take another step, light floods the hall. Standing across the room is Ben, and in his hand is a large Bowie knife, and a faint smile on his lips. Tyler pushes Janet behind him.
Hey, man. Sorry if we woke you up.
Ben doesn't respond. He just stands there, his hand tightening around the knife.
Janet's not feeling well, so I think we're gonna head home early.
Ben's smile widens. He takes a step forward.
What are you doing?
Tyler takes a step toward the door, but Ben mirrors his movements, blocking the way.
Quit messing around. You're freaking us out.
Suddenly, the hallway is plunged back into darkness. Janet screams. The sound of footsteps rushes toward them.
Janet, run!
Tyler pushes Janet toward the broken window. She stumbles over the rug.
Get out of here!
Before she gets to the window, she quickly unzips her bag, retrieving the kitchen knife. Her limbs feel sluggish, but she manages to use the handle of the knife to punch out the rest of the window. She hoists herself up, through the window and outside. As she hits the ground, she twists her ankle and lets out a shriek. As she tries to stumble to her feet, She hears a crash come from inside the house.
Tyler! Tyler!
Janet stands and stares back through the window. Nothing but silence from the house. She panics, not knowing what to do. Go back in for Tyler, or run. Before she can decide, a sing-song voice rings out from the front of the house.
Janet! Where'd you run off to?
A dark figure emerges from around the corner of the house.
Good. You got your knife.
Janet bursts into a sprint in the opposite direction, tears blurring her vision. She doesn't know where she's going. She just knows she has to get away. She reaches the woods and frantically looks back for Kate, but her foot catches on a root and she falls to the forest floor, her outstretched hand landing on the knife. Her ankle throbs. The wound on her hand gushes with blood. Janet crawls behind a large bush, hugging her knees tightly to her chest.
Are you feeling okay, sweetie?
Janet tries to steady her breath, trying to still her shaking body.
You know, you really shouldn't accept a drink from a stranger. You made the same mistake that night at the party. A glass of wine for me and you were out like a light.
Janet holds her breath as Kate walks by the bush. Kate scans the area around her.
I knew then you'd be perfect for our little game. You see, letting those frogs loose was how Ben and I fell in love. We both knew we had to give the frogs the chance to run, so we could hunt them down.
Janet feels like her heart is going to burst out of her chest. She can hear Kate's feet crunching on the ground, circling her.
We have so many shared interests, Ben and I. The same interests in hunting, well, a particular type of hunting. We like to let our animals go first. It's more fun that way. But of course, hunting animals got too boring.
Kate prowls closer, checking behind every tree.
So we found new prey. Prey that is much more unpredictable.
Kate's footsteps start to fade, and then there's silence. Janet is unable to move. After a few moments, she takes a breath, chancing a glance from behind the bush. Kate is nowhere to be seen. Janet waits for what seems like hours. Then she begins to crawl from behind the bush. She stands, her ankle and legs aching, as she moves back toward the house. She has to find Tyler.
There you are!
Janet spins around, her heart stopping, as she sees Kate making her way down the dock and toward her.
I was silly enough to think you might have jumped in the lake. See? Unpredictable.
Janet spins around, sprinting back toward the woods. Kate's laugh follows close behind her, echoing off the trees.
You're faster than I thought you would be. How fun.
Janet feels a sharp movement fly past her ear, an arrow, which lands with a thud in the tree in front of her.
Oopsies! Looks like I missed.
Janet swerves to the right, ducking beneath a tree branch as she continues to sprint. Kate laughs again, a girlish giggle that sounds closer than before. Suddenly, Janet clears the trees. She's running down the road that leads to the house. Janet dares a look over her shoulder, but sees nothing.
No use in running anymore. I got you.
A stabbing pain shoots through Janet's calf, and she falls to the ground, sobbing, staring at the arrow protruding from her leg. She hears a crunch behind her, and slowly turns around. Kate stands in the middle of the road, another arrow pointed directly between Janet's eyes.
Looks like you weren't a hard catch after all. Oh well.
Kate draws her arm back, tightening the bow. Janet closes her eyes and takes a breath, picturing Tyler, and wishing she'd never insisted on this lake house trip. A dull light begins to fill her vision as she clenches her eyes shut, waiting for the moment the arrow is let loose. But then the light gets brighter.
What the?
There's an explosive, sharp thud, and Janet opens her eyes. Car headlights soak Janet in a bright yellow. Kate lies motionless atop the windshield. Tyler stumbles out of the car, a large gash across his arm, his nose splattered with blood. He runs to Janet's side, grabbing her into his arms.
But where's Ben?
I don't know. Dead, maybe. He had his knife against my throat, but I grabbed a shard of glass from the broken window and stabbed him. Then I ran to find you. Thank God I could hear Kate from the road.
Just then, Kate lets out a groan.
What do we do?
We tie them up and call the police.
Janet nods as Tyler makes his way back to his car. He grabs some cables from the trunk and starts wrapping them around Kate's wrists and feet. Kate wanes in and out of consciousness, her mouth moving to form one word.
Unpredictable.
2 days later, Janet runs her fingers through Tyler's hair, her computer on his lap. The online article reads, "Killer couple captured. Dozens of missing cases solved." Janet stares at Kate and Ben's mugshots, bruises and cuts etched on their faces.
You know, it's funny.
What is?
I actually told Kate I was worried that you were getting bored with me.
Tyler snorts, shutting the laptop and turning toward Janet.
Babe, even if you didn't take me to that lake, and if we weren't almost murdered by 2 maniacs, I could still never be bored with you.
Janet smiles as Tyler kisses her lips.
I'm dating the most interesting person I know, and I wouldn't have it any other way.